My job as a photojournalist has been to see and tell other people's stories. That means time and again to show up, slow down, be present, connect, and allow for the singularity of the moment to appear. In 2019, the New York Times assigned me to find a quiet story about daily life in the Rio Grande Valley, the southernmost tip of Texas along the Mexico border. The perception of this region is sometimes grim. If you've never been and you only read headlines, you'd think this was a war zone filled with cartel violence. Most times, national journalists are sent to cover a very specific and sensationalized story and not much more. A decade prior, I'd created a project about teenage girls in Brooklyn for my master's in photojournalism. I love witnessing the tender moment when the tug of adulthood is equal to the tug of childhood. So when I saw a young woman celebrating her 18th birthday at a restaurant in McAllen, something clicked for me, and I knew the lens through which I would share this complex and multifaceted region. I spent the next month interviewing and photographing teenage girls in the Rio Grande Valley and seeing how this rich culture is reflected in its youth. I was curious about the relationships these girls had to the border itself and how their proximity to it showed up in their lives. I'd like to share with you two of those stories today. First, meet Jocelyn. I met Jocelyn on the bridge between Matamoros, Mexico, and Brownsville, Texas. On weekdays, she gets up at 4 a.m. in Matamoros to begin her 2-hour commute to her high school in Brownsville, Texas. While Jocelyn is a U.S. citizen, her parents are not. Jocelyn's mother spends half of her salary to pay for the private van that will transport her safely from her home to the border crossing. She does this because she believes her daughter can and should get a better education. Sometimes teachers can see you differently or judge you, so I don't tell many people that I go back and forth, Jocelyn said. Sometimes they miss out on a lot of things because I don't live over there, and I don't live over there because my parents can't live there with me. Next, meet Isabella. I first met Isabella Ruiz in 2016 when she was 11. I was working on a different New York Times story about the digital divide, how children without internet access at home can fall behind in school. At that time, she and her younger brother would stand outside a nearby school and borrow Wi-Fi in order to download their homework assignments because they didn't have internet access at home. Now, Isabella, a few years later in 2019, is 14. And a freshman in high school living with her family in McAllen, Texas. Her father, who is undocumented, was picked up a few months before I interviewed her and detained for a month. During that time, the family fell behind on bills and their water was shut off. Isabella and her family showered at a nearby relative's house and carried water in containers back to their own. I see my parents have to go through stress. My mom wants to find a second job. As soon as I turn 16, I want to put in my applications so I can help them with the bills. My mom has always told me, "You're going to go to college. I know it's going to be a struggle, but I have to go. I want to do something with my life. I don't want to struggle as much as my parents did to support their family." It's been 6 years since this story was published. Jocelyn and Isabella are no longer girls. They are women, adults. I wondered how their lives had changed and if they continued to live lives bisected by the border, so I reached out. Jocelyn has realized her goal of becoming a nurse. She's still living in Matamoros with her parents, boyfriend, and now her 1-year-old daughter. As she set out to do, she's working at a clinic on the U.S. side of the border. She's saving money to pursue a higher degree in nursing, and she hopes she and her family can move to Texas so that her daughter can enjoy the same U.S. education that she did. Isabella also realized one of her dreams. She's in school to become an elementary school teacher, but life has been hard for her. She lives in a trailer with her parents and younger brother. Her mother is suffering from kidney disease, and her father has been picked up by ICE yet again. Isabella said her father is typically strong and stoic, but when he was released from detention, he cried. He was terrified he would be deported and sold to the cartel. He got scared they would traffic him, she said. These people are not even looking out for human beings. Despite the stress of this, Isabella remains optimistic. As long as we have a roof over our heads and food on the table, we are rich in life. This project was one that has stayed with me. The stories I heard were difficult and diverse. The challenges of adolescence are universal, but the proximity to the border makes for a unique set of hurdles and hard-won joys. I feel privileged to have been able to show the region through a glimpse of these young women's lives.